So before we dive into this video, it's important to understand this video was made possible by Uber. It was sponsored by Uber. However, the opinions expressed in this video are true and my own. So with that being said, let's get started. Welcome back to part 3 of this 4-part series where we have Aaron
Schildkraut. It's great to be back. You'll never get my name. Let's keep rolling.
Yeah, all right. So in this segment, we're going to be talking about support and flexibility and how they were affected by Uber's 180 days of change. So to get started, how is support directly affected by 180?
The biggest thing we did is phone support. So 24/7, always available phone support. That was really the biggest feature and took by far the most effort of all the things we did. We said at the beginning, look, our most important thing is to fix earnings, to make Uber more flexible for drivers. That's like kind of the core value we provide. But we screw up all the time, and bad, funny, strange, awkward, all sorts of things happen on trips that drivers need help with. And so while our ultimate goal is there's no need for support, there is often a need for support. And so when there is, we want it to be awesome. And we want it to be available, accessible, easy. And so the idea of sending an email and getting this form response and trying to find your way through the world of support is not nearly as appealing as just literally being able to pick up the phone, call, get a quick response, and actually work it out with somebody. So we thought that was a really amazing feature that we could offer drivers, and so we launched it as part of the second chapter of 180.
Personally, I think it's a great feature. I've been one of the people that many times had to go through support through emails, and a lot of times...
Every driver, by the way.
Yeah. It's like you send an email about one problem and then they respond with something totally different. So yeah, being able to go into your app and just click that phone button and talk to somebody.
Huge.
Kudos.
Yeah, and not easy, by the way.
So this isn't something that you've just hired someone else to take care of. You guys actually work to build this yourselves.
Yeah, we have many thousands of people that we work with on the support side. Some work for us, and there's a whole complicated structure for how that works. And then we also have a team that's dedicated to building the tooling for both the people who answer support phone calls and tickets and so forth, and also for drivers to access support. A whole team dedicated just to that.
So could you tell me a little bit about the ratings protection, basically how you're protecting drivers from negative ratings that maybe they didn't deserve?
Yep. So, and there's more coming on ratings soon. How annoying is it if, let's say, Uber sends you on a terrible route that's just some zigzaggy, ridiculous thing, because our algorithms, are having a bad day or whatever. And then the rider is super annoyed, and then they rate you 2 stars because of the route that you didn't control. That's an incredibly frustrating experience. And so what we really wanted to do with ratings protection, and we've sent emails about the details, but is make it so that you get rated for stuff that's in your control, and you don't get rated for stuff, your own rating doesn't get affected by stuff that is outside of your control. And so that core principle, I think, is we've taken good steps towards realizing it, but there's more to do. We talked at a different time about, also not dinging drivers for riders who habitually rate low. I'll give you a great example. There are a small set of riders who believe 1 star is the best. Yes, there are definitely that group of people. For whatever reason, and maybe it's cultural, maybe they come from a place where
right.
1 is the best and 5 is, I don't know what the reason is, but every single time you happen to unluckily get that rider who rates you 1 star, your rating should not plummet as a result. And we should be able to know, oh, this is one of the 1-star people.
Right.
And so we can do a bunch of stuff like that. So basically, drivers' ratings should accurately reflect the service they provide that is in their control. And it should not reflect other things. And so that was the spirit of it, and we'll keep working on making that really a reality.
I'm excited to see what you've got coming in the future with it. I think you've done a great job so far. All right, so if you had it your way, and you probably will, what's your vision for support look like?
I do not know if I'll have it my way. I think if I really had it my way, which would be very, very hard, and by the way, this is everybody's way at Uber, I'd say, is that there would be no support. And the reason is because everything would be solved in advance. One, there wouldn't be any broken, stupid stuff, of which there is a lot.
Right.
So that's very straightforward. Two, there would be, when something did go wrong, we would know it and proactively solve it. And then thirdly, we should allow you to solve most of your support questions in the actual app so that you can just do it yourself. Drivers are smart, they can figure it out. We can build a tool that lets them say hey, you missed this, or this was broken, or whatnot. And so between those three things, I think we should be able to actually eliminate most of the need for support. I think that's by far the most important thing. And then when you do talk to support, either phone call or email or whatever, it should be human. You should feel like you're talking to somebody who really understands what it's like to be a driver and can solve your problem quickly and efficiently, or route you to somebody who can. And even cooler would be if it included tips. And some drivers might find this annoying, which I understand, but I think some would benefit from hey, we've noticed for the last 3 weeks in a row, you've been driving in, let's say we're in San Francisco, in the Mission in the mornings, and just west of you, there's a place where you could actually be earning an extra $1 or $2 an hour. Just a thought you might want to consider exploring that neighborhood in your mornings.
That would be awesome.
So I think we can get in this direction that I'm describing with support over time, and we'll see.
So stay tuned, because that's exciting, and I can't wait to see if he gets his way. All right, so moving on from support, we're going to talk about flexibility now. So how is flexibility addressed by 180?
All right, so our third chapter in the 180 sequence was flexibility focused. It's the most controversial chapter because it's the one that included the 6 tokens that we then reduced to 2.
Yes.
Which was a very painful and remains a painful experience, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. So, but we did a lot of things in that chapter that I thought were really good. I think the most innovative was adding arrival time. So, and actually not that many drivers have been using this feature yet, interestingly. And so I think there's more work for us to do to get it right. Some have been using it and some love it, but it's less used than I would like. And I think it's partly because of how we built it. So the idea was, hey, we've always offered some degree of control over where you go and it's usually your first and last trip of the day, although drivers use it for all sorts of reasons. And that was driver destinations. And so we wanted to increase that. But we also said, what about the when? The real dream is you can say, hey, I need to pick up my kid at, their after school program at 4 o'clock. So send me wherever you want, but I better be at the after school program at 4 o'clock to pick up my kid. So just make sure that happens. And inside that time frame and that, geographic structure, make sure I get the most trips possible. And so we added that feature, and it's really cool. It allows you to say, after school program, 4 o'clock, done. And so that was a major step forward for flexibility. And we did a bunch of other subtle things that I think drivers responded well to. But we also did the 6 token thing, which didn't end up as well as we had wanted.
So as a single father myself, this is something I can really appreciate, because I've had jobs before, never kept them long, but I've had jobs, and if you need the time off, take your kid to the doctor, there's a school event or a baseball game, whatever the case is, you can't always get the time off, and it's one of those things where you're forced to choose between family or work. And this new tool with flexibility that helps you increase your earnings really allows you to maximize what you make with the amount of time that you have to spare. And again, you're your own boss, so nobody can tell you can't go to your kids' play or baseball game. So this is something I truly appreciate. All right, so can you tell us about some of the new preferences that drivers can select now?
Yep. So we made it much easier for people to swap between premium products like Black and X, which used to be you could kind of do it, but it was a pretty gross experience. And so we made that much easier. And then we made a major effort to provide more driver destinations, which is a frequently asked topic, so I'll just talk about it. So we had done a bunch of testing in a number of cities about increasing the number of driver destinations drivers could use each day. We wanted to provide more control, obviously. And and it worked pretty well. It seemed like people were taking more trips. We didn't see much negative effect, so it was pretty awesome. More control, no downside. Let's do it. And then we launched, and honestly, Uber's like learning the muscle of launching things to many people simultaneously and many things at once. And particularly for us, we operate a marketplace. The marketplace is actually reasonably fragile, as in if a bunch of people change their behavior very quickly, it changes the dynamics of the marketplace.
Absolutely.
And so we started seeing in some of our biggest cities, and particularly certain cities based on the geography of the city and like how it's literally structured, one, that drivers were using more and more of their driver destinations. So more drivers were using them, and they were using a larger number of them. And the rate of increase was quite marked. And the big thing was that we marketed it. So for the first time ever, we went all in green light hubs, in emails, in Facebook, so many different channels. We said go, use these driver destinations. And so the usage went way up, much more than we'd seen through our earlier tests, much more. And then out of that experience, we started seeing that this change in driver behavior was really having a negative impact on both riders and drivers. That we were seeing, it wasn't all trips, but it was some trips were having much higher ETAs, which meant drivers spent more time driving to passengers rather than having passengers in their car and earning, and riders spent more time waiting. And so we realized that we needed to rethink this feature, and that it was a very early version of what real driver control could look like if we built it in an amazing way. And so, painfully, because obviously we really didn't want to do this, it was not good. We rolled back from 6 to 2 driver destinations, and we made a couple other changes that we've talked about, where we adjusted the radius that we call you've arrived, and where we tried to make sure that the driver destinations that you do have work super well. And in order to do that at certain times in geographies, we would actually cap the number of, the usage of driver destinations. So that was not a great experience. We learned a lot, and I think it was pretty frustrating for a lot of drivers. I would have been very frustrated. But I think we learned a lot, and I'm really looking forward to the next
So it's something that
version.
you're going to work on improving in the future.
Oh, yes, we have many people working on this.
Where do you see the future of flexibility with 180?
Well, I think it's really just what are we trying to achieve with flexibility? So it's always been the hallmark of Uber. You could go work at, an accounting job, or, a web development job, or Starbucks, or whatever it is that you want to do. But Uber is more flexible. That's always been the power. Work on your own, more flexible. So we want to double down on that. I think we need to keep being the innovative leaders in the world at offering a truly flexible new kind of work. This is a new kind of work. And so that means Uber fits into your life based on your schedule. It also means that we help you understand how much money you're likely to make, or some marker of that in the future, so you can plan flexibly around your earnings expectations, which we've not really done very strongly in the past. We have some examples, but we could do better. And I think it also means that to an extent, drivers have a degree of control over their experience. We can't offer unlimited control, because I think that would create all sorts of marketplace issues, as we've talked about, and we have to serve both riders and drivers and Uber's shareholders. But I think we can do better at providing smart controls for drivers. So that's the future of flexibility.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. There is a fine balance, and I guess it's just going to be an ongoing learning experience for everyone.
Absolutely.
All right, that's the end of flexibility, guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part 4. As always, like, comment, subscribe, stay safe out there, and Uber on.
Something that makes total sense in Oklahoma.
I like that cowboy accent there. Oklahoma.
That was pretty good?
Yes, all right, I suppose.
You suppose? We've done an okay job.
Well, you know, they go from white stars to yellow. So it's like, as you click them, you should kind of understand that, well, okay, we're filling in the stars now.
More yellow is not necessarily good, I'm telling you.